Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. The hotel pianist was playing something soft, something slow and kind of tragic. Funny how the universe picks the soundtrack for your worst moments. I was sitting in a stiff leather chair in the lobby of the Marlin Bay Resort, pretending to scroll through my phone, when the elevator dinged. I didn't look up at first. I didn't need to. I already knew what I was about to see. A laugh. Her laugh. Sharp and familiar. Cut straight through my chest like a nail through drywall. She stepped out with him. Her hand was in his. She was barefoot, holding her heels by the straps, and her hair was a mess in a way that told the whole story without needing subtitles. His shirt was unbuttoned. His belt barely looped. They looked like they had just survived a tornado made of sweat, lies, and club music. She didn't see me. Not yet. I stayed perfectly still, right behind a fake palm tree and a half-empty glass of someone else's mojito. My phone screen was black. My heart? Same. Let me rewind 72 hours. I was supposed to be at home. She was supposed to be on a girls-only trip to Miami. I wasn't invited, of course. It's tradition, she said. Just us ladies. Wine, beach, and bad karaoke. Sure. Why not? I even helped her pack. She took the little blue dress I bought her last Valentine's. Said it made her feel powerful. She didn't say it was for him. She didn't say it would be the dress she'd take off 2 floors above a lobby where I was losing pieces of myself by the second. Now you're wondering, why was I there? Why didn't I stay home like I was supposed to? Because 2 nights ago, I got a call from an unknown number, and a stranger's voice said, "If you love her, you might want to be in Miami. Room 723. She checks in at 6. And for some reason, I listened. I booked a ticket in silence. I told no one, not even my brother. I arrived before her. I watched her laugh with her friends. I watched her flirt with the bartender. And later, I watched her vanish into an elevator with a man I'd never seen before. But I didn't stop her. Not yet. No, I waited. I waited until I saw what I needed to see, until I knew I could never unsee it. And then I stood up and walked right past her. She froze. And that was just the beginning. Back in our hometown, people probably thought we were picture perfect. Tessa posted couple selfies religiously. She coordinated our outfits when we went to weddings. She made Pinterest boards about our future home. But behind the filters and hashtags was a truth I had been too stupid, or maybe too scared, to see. Tessa needed to be adored by everyone all the time. It wasn't enough that I loved her. She needed an audience. I was just her front row fan, clapping the loudest, while she performed whatever version of herself suited the stage. On the drive, I opened our shared cloud account, something I hadn't touched in months. I don't even know what I was looking for. Proof? A reason? A crack in the timeline that could have warned me? I scrolled through her trip album. Photos of sunsets. Tessa in sunglasses. Tessa and B toasting champagne. And then, tucked between 2 selfies, a video I wasn't supposed to see. It was recorded by accident, probably a long press in her camera app. 38 seconds of slurred giggles, a man's voice, and the sound of a hotel door locking. I watched the whole thing. I don't know why. I already knew the truth. But I watched it anyway, like maybe seeing it would finally kill off whatever part of me still loved her. By the time I got to my stop, the storage unit I had rented under a fake name 2 months earlier, don't ask why, I just had a bad feeling one day. I had already made up my mind. Everything she owned that had ever touched my life was waiting there. Boxes of photos. Her old high school yearbooks she refused to throw out. The guitar I bought her when she said she wanted to learn something meaningful. The letters. The gifts. Even the stupid ceramic fox we won at a carnival. All neatly packed. All ready to go. I left her a note. Not to explain, just to confirm. I saw you. I was there. Please don't contact me. Everything you left at my place is in Unit 47B. The key is under the mat. Do not speak to my family. Do not reach out to my friends. This isn't revenge. It's freedom. And I meant it. Every word. But what I didn't expect was that she wouldn't stay silent. The next day, my phone rang. Then my mom's. Then my brother's. Then something happened that neither of us could have predicted. and it changed everything. The first call came less than 24 hours after she returned from Miami. I had already turned off my main number and switched to a backup phone I used for work emergencies. That line was clean, untouched. But she didn't stop at me. My brother, Wesley, called me in the middle of the night from a number I didn't recognize. She showed up at Mom's house, Wendell, he said, crying, screaming, saying you disappeared, that you were sick or kidnapped or worse. What the hell is going on? I didn't answer right away. I was staring at a diner receipt from earlier that evening, just a grilled cheese and black coffee. I had barely touched either. My appetite had vanished along with my patience. She cheated, I finally said. I saw it. I was there. Silence on the line. Wendell, man, are you sure? Room 723. Marlin Bay Hotel. I watched her walk out of it with another man. He swore under his breath. Okay, so what's the plan? There is no plan, I said. She's not part of my life anymore. But she had other ideas. That same morning, Tessa posted a carousel of photos on social media. Us together, smiling, holding hands, sunset behind us. The caption read, "Please, if anyone sees or hears from my fiancé Wendell, tell him I love him. I made a mistake, one I can never undo. But I need him to know that losing him is worse than anything I've ever felt." That post went viral. I'm not exaggerating, it had 48,000 likes in a day. People were resharing it, commenting things like, "Men should listen before leaving," and "Cheating doesn't mean you stop loving someone." She painted me like I ghosted her out of coldness, like I was punishing her for a tiny mistake. Tiny? A hotel affair on a girl's trip you lied about, with a man you brought into our shared bed months before, as I would later find out? Tiny? The next wave came through my workplace. An anonymous email sent to my boss, claiming I was mentally unstable and possibly self-harming. They had no choice but to do a wellness check. HR called me in. I had to explain that I wasn't in danger, just no longer in denial. Then came the private messages. Strangers, friends, even her aunt. Talk to her. She's broken. She cries every day. She's trying to find you. She's trying. But none of them saw what I saw. None of them sat in that lobby. None of them watched her walk out of that elevator with a man who wasn't just some random mistake. He was her plan B, her escape route, her distraction while I was building a life for us from the ground up. I don't think she ever thought I'd walk away. She assumed I'd yell, break things, maybe cry. But I did none of that. I erased myself. But the thing about erasing yourself is, people start to notice the blank space. And someone unexpected noticed me first. Not Tessa. Not her friends. Someone else entirely. And what they told me changed everything I thought I knew about the Miami trip. A DM appeared in the message requests folder of my rarely used art account. I almost didn't check it. It was from someone named Kaylee S., with a profile photo of a sunset and a husky. I opened it out of habit, expecting spam or another person telling me to hear Tessa out. But the first line snapped me upright. I don't know you, but I was on that trip to Miami. I need to tell you something before you marry that woman. I stared at the screen, frozen. My hands tingled, heart racing. I replied immediately, asking if we could talk. Kaylee sent me her number. I called. No hesitation. What followed was a 40-minute conversation that twisted everything I thought I understood. Kaylee wasn't one of Tessa's close friends. She was a friend of BA's. Apparently, there were 9 women on that trip, not 5 like I'd been told. Tessa had intentionally kept the list vague when telling me who was going. According to Kaylee, my fiancé spent most of the trip with a guy named Curtis, someone she already knew from back home. Not someone she met randomly in Miami. Curtis wasn't a vacation fling. He was a man she'd been seeing behind my back for over a year. Worse still, Kaylee claimed that B tried to stop it. She even threatened to call me. That's why Tessa and her got into a screaming match on the 3rd night. That's when Tessa locked herself in the hotel bathroom and smashed BA's phone. Everyone on the trip was pulled into the drama, but no one wanted to be the one to ruin her wedding. So they all stayed quiet. Kaylee only reached out now because she saw Tessa's viral post and felt disgusted. She said, and I quote, "I watched her cry over losing her free ride, not over losing you. She didn't talk about your love, Wendell. She talked about the house, the wedding, the image. You were stability. Curtis was the thrill. You were never part of her plan long-term." Those words split my chest open. My mouth went dry. All this time, I thought I was grieving a real connection. But what I had been protecting was an illusion. And the truth is, that illusion was carefully crafted by someone who didn't love me. Someone who used me as a prop in her Pinterest perfect life. After I hung up, I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I just sat there, in the middle of a cheap motel bedspread, surrounded by silence that felt thicker than concrete. I was exhausted, not just from what I'd learned, but from carrying the weight of a relationship that had clearly been hollow long before it collapsed. And yet, a part of me still needed something more. Not revenge, not closure, just accountability. So I sent her a text, the first since I vanished. It said, "I know about Curtis. I know everything. Stop playing the victim. You don't miss me, you miss control." She didn't reply. Instead, she showed up at my work. And what she said in front of my coworkers, that was the moment the world flipped upside down. I was halfway through installing a server rack when I saw her reflection in the polished metal frame. I didn't turn around immediately. I kept my head down and my hands moving, pretending she wasn't standing there in our office lobby like a storm with nowhere to land. I'd already warned security weeks earlier. Her photo was printed and taped inside the front desk drawer. But somehow she still got past them. Probably begged. Probably cried. She was always good at getting what she wanted until she wasn't. "Tessa, you can't be here," I said without turning. My voice cracked slightly from surprise, but I recovered quickly. My coworker Alan stopped mid-step when he saw her. The whole IT team went quiet. She didn't care. She marched right past the lobby chairs, through the glass doors, and stopped 2 feet in front of me, her voice loud enough for the entire floor to hear. "Why are you lying to everyone about me?" I straightened up, finally facing her. She looked disheveled. Not physically, but emotionally. Her eyes were red, not from crying, but from exhaustion. The kind you get when a plan starts collapsing faster than you can fake your way out. "I didn't lie," I said. "You just didn't expect me to tell the truth." She laughed. A sharp, bitter laugh that bounced off the walls like broken glass. "No, what you did was slander. You told people I was unfaithful, that I'm manipulative. You made me out to be some monster just because you couldn't handle one mistake." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. A mistake? A year-long affair with a man she flew across the country to meet? That's not a mistake. That's a campaign. People started gathering near the hallway. Phones were in hands. Whispers traveled faster than her words. "You're making a scene," I warned. "Good," she snapped. "Because everyone needs to know what kind of person you really are. You ghosted me. You left without a word like some coward. And now you're trying to destroy my life." I stepped back, finally letting the anger reach my voice. "I left because you already destroyed our life. I was just the last one to realize it." Then, out of nowhere, she dropped the bomb. "I'm pregnant." The entire room froze. My spine went rigid. My jaw tightened. Every sound in the office died except the faint hum of the servers. "I'm pregnant," she repeated, softer now, more calculated. "And you don't even care." A part of me wanted to believe she was lying. Another part, a terrified, buried part, wondered if she was telling the truth. But then I remembered something Kaylee said. Something about how Tessa had stopped drinking long before the Miami trip. Something about making sure her body was clean. That phrase came back like an echo I couldn't silence. "You're not here because you want me back," I said quietly. "You're here because Curtis doesn't want the baby. Does he?" Her face dropped for a split second, barely a flicker, but enough. She tried to recover with a tearful whisper, but I had already seen it. The truth wasn't just out. It was weaponized. "You think blowing up my life here will bring me back to you?" I asked. You think painting me as the villain changes what you did? She didn't answer. She just stood there, trembling, mascara running, surrounded by stunned faces and awkward silence. That's when Alan stepped in and gently placed a hand on my shoulder. HR's already on the line, he said quietly. You don't have to handle this alone. I nodded, but before security could escort her out, Tessa looked at me one last time and said something that made my blood run cold. If you don't come back, you'll regret it. Not because of me, but because of what I'm about to do. And just like that, she walked out. But what she did next, it made everything before look like a warm-up. The next morning started like any other. I was sitting on the edge of my bed in a shirt from yesterday, half a mug of cold coffee in my hands, staring blankly at my apartment wall when I got the call. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. I wish I hadn't. Is this Wendell Harmon? A flat male voice asked. Yes, I replied cautiously. This is Officer Lewis with the Pinewood Police Department. Are you available to come in for questioning regarding a domestic matter? Everything in my body froze. What? There's been a formal statement filed. We'd like to speak with you voluntarily before we move forward with anything. Felt like the floor opened up beneath me. I asked for details, but of course they couldn't give any over the phone. I hung up in a daze and immediately checked my email. Nothing from Tessa. No threats. No updates. Nothing from her lawyer either. Just silence, the kind of silence that builds into a scream when it finally cracks. At the station, the questions were vague at first. Had I ever physically harmed Tessa? Had I ever threatened her? Had I been emotionally manipulative or shown signs of mental instability? They weren't accusing me directly, not yet. They were feeling me out, testing the water. I sat there, blinking, trying to stay calm, but my hands were shaking. She's trying to corner me, I told the officer. She's retaliating because I left. But the most chilling moment came when they finally slid a printed statement across the table. I recognized her handwriting instantly, and it hit me harder than anything else had. She had claimed that I vanished with her property, that I emotionally intimidated her, and that I had a history of isolation and verbal threats. She even claimed I had taken her dog, a dog she left at my place and hadn't asked about once. It was surreal. She wasn't just rewriting the story. She was planting a new one in legal soil. And the worst part? It worked. For a week, I was forced to step away from work while HR conducted an internal review, and a protective order was filed, temporary but still very real. I couldn't even go back to the storage unit without violating it. I hired a lawyer. I gathered texts, screenshots, security footage from the hotel. Even Kaylee agreed to write a witness statement on my behalf. It helped, but the damage was done. People started pulling away from me. Friends weren't sure who to believe. One coworker quietly unfollowed me. Another stopped saying hello in the break room. I was becoming exactly what she wanted me to be. Isolated. She was trying to trap me in a narrative where she was the fragile, betrayed fiancée abandoned by an unstable man. And the world, it eats those stories up. A woman cries and people listen. A man disappears and they assume guilt. I kept telling myself not to break. But one night, after a long call with my lawyer, I walked into my bathroom, looked in the mirror, and didn't recognize the man staring back. My face looked older, paler. My shoulders slumped like I'd been walking through rain for months. I was unraveling slowly, and she knew it. But what she didn't know, what she never counted on, was that someone from her own camp was about to switch sides. He called me, and what she told me wasn't just shocking. It was horrifying. I didn't answer BEA's first call, or the second. I figured it was just more of the same. Someone trying to apologize on Tessa's behalf or convince me to be the bigger person. But when she called the third time and immediately followed it up with a message that said, I need to talk. This isn't about her. It's about Curtis. Something inside me shifted. I called her back. Her voice sounded exhausted, like someone who hadn't slept in days. I can't keep quiet anymore, she said. I didn't know she'd take it this far. The cops? The lies? Wendell, I didn't sign up for this. I told her I wasn't in the mood for sympathy, but she cut me off. No, you don't get it. You're not the first. That stopped me cold. What? She did the same thing 2 years ago. Different guy. Same playbook. Lies, manipulation, fake breakdowns. She got him fired from his job. Spread rumors that he had anger issues. And then, when she was done ruining him, she cried her way into another relationship. Yours. My head spun. I had known about a past relationship that ended badly. She always claimed he was the toxic one. I believed her. I let her paint herself as the victim, and I never questioned it. Now I realized that entire backstory might have been fiction, just another carefully designed narrative to win sympathy. B wasn't finished. She didn't just cheat in Miami. That was already bad enough. But she recorded you. What? She had Curtis film you in the hotel lobby. She told him it would be funny to catch your reaction. They wanted to see you break. That was the whole point of inviting Curtis on the trip. It wasn't random, Wendell. She planned it. I felt like the breath had been ripped from my lungs. All those hours I spent replaying that moment in the lobby, watching her emerge from that elevator, thinking it was spontaneous, messy, even tragic. But no, it was a setup, a twisted performance designed to crush me in real time. She never thought you'd leave like that, B added. She thought you'd scream, cry, make a scene. When you didn't, she panicked. That's why she tried to flip the script. And then B sent me the file. A shaky video, clearly taken from behind a potted plant near the bar. There I was, sitting in the lobby chair, expressionless. There she was, stepping out of the elevator, all drama and fake surprise. You could hear Curtis chuckle under his breath. And then Tessa turned and whispered something that chilled me more than anything else I'd heard. Watch this. He'll fall apart in 3, 2. She didn't even finish counting. I stood up and walked away. No breakdown. No begging. Just exit. And that ruined her plan. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a betrayal. It was a performance. And I wasn't her partner. I was her audience until I decided to leave the theater mid-act. I sent the footage to my lawyer. The case against me began to crumble almost instantly. The officer who first contacted me called to clarify details. The protective order was quietly dropped a few days later. Her smear campaign was collapsing under the weight of her own arrogance. But even with all of that, she still wasn't done. Because Tessa, cornered, exposed, and unraveling, did what all manipulators do when they lose control. She created a new crisis. And this time, she dragged someone else into it. Tessa wasn't the type to accept defeat. Even after the police report fell apart, after the fake pregnancy lie lost steam, and even after her viral sympathy posts started attracting trolls who exposed the truth, she still had one final card to play. And this time, she played it dirty. It started with a knock at my mother's house. I hadn't been staying there. I was still keeping a low profile while the legal dust settled. But Tessa didn't know that. She showed up with a manila folder in her hands and a baby bump barely visible under a flowing dress. I only know this because my mom called me afterward, her voice low and shaky. She said she's pregnant with your child, Wendell. She said she has proof. She begged me to convince you to come home. I felt sick. But this time I didn't spiral. I didn't panic. I'd seen enough of her playbook to know how the ending went. And I had something Tessa didn't, people who were finally done protecting her. Kaylee came forward publicly, posting screenshots of messages from Tessa where she admitted the pregnancy was fake. B backed it up. Even Curtis chimed in with a venomous DM saying, "Tell your psycho ex to leave me out of her circus. I've blocked her on everything." With nowhere else to go, Tessa finally went quiet. No more posts. No more calls. No more theatrics. It didn't feel like victory, not at first. It felt like being released from a storm that had spun so long I forgot what stillness felt like. But the weeks passed. I returned to work. The whispers faded. People stopped looking at me like I was broken. And I started to rebuild. Not just my job or my reputation, but myself. I moved into a new apartment, smaller but warmer. I cut contact with anyone who ever made me feel like I had to earn their loyalty. I even adopted a dog, not hers but mine. A mutt with lopsided ears and a love for jazz music. And for the first time in years, I started painting again. Not to impress anyone. Not for Tessa's Instagram. Just for me. A few weeks ago, I walked into a local gallery and asked if they accepted submissions. The woman behind the counter said yes. She liked my work. She offered me a corner space for a weekend showing. It's not fame. It's not fortune. But it's mine. And sometimes that's the only kind of victory that matters. As for Tessa, last I heard, she moved out of state. No forwarding address. No updates. Just a name that occasionally crosses my mind like an old scar on a healed wound. I don't miss her. I miss the person I thought she was. But more than that, I'm grateful I walked away when I did. Because disappearing wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of my life. Thank you for following this journey here on Reddit Confessions. If you've ever had to rebuild your life after betrayal, or watched someone's lies unravel in the most unexpected way, share your story in the comments. And here's a little challenge. What's one shocking or fascinating event from history you think more people should know about? Drop it below. Let's get a discussion going. Don't forget to subscribe for more real, raw, and unforgettable confessions.